Trials riding has had an amazing path through the history of mountain biking. If you jump back to the beginning, in the early 90s, Hans Ray was one of the most famous riders on the planet. Trials rider, how was he doing it? This imaginative sport was captivating people and bringing them in their masses, including myself. Now, jump forward to the noughties. Danny MacAskill, yep, a trials rider, sits alongside Aaron Gwynn, Nino Schurter as one of the big names in the sport. Big sponsorship, big paychecks. Incredible. It's because the videos he makes brings in hundreds of millions of people for his incredible riding. It looks incredible, doesn't it? Looks like we couldn't do it. But you know what? There are elements of trials riding that we can use and can learn, just like Danny MacAskill, and use them out on the trail. So let me show you how to do it. Balance is an essential skill of trials riding, and there's nothing more perplexing to a newbie than seeing a talented rider just balancing their feet up on the pedals, seemingly defying the laws of physics. Now, we don't need to take this to the levels of someone like Fabio Wibmer, who'll take his balancing art up onto the railings of 100-metre high dams. That's crazy. But out on the trails, we do need balance for really simple and obvious things, slow speed riding, going around tight switchbacks, for instance. We do need incredible balance, and you can learn it. Now, one way to do it is to master the track stand. So let's take a look at that, see how you can learn it, and your bike riding is going to go up to the next level.
So you really don't need anything to practice track stand. Just get yourself outside. It's actually quite nice to have a bit of a bank and just turn your front wheel into that bank. So I'm now just using pressure mainly on my front foot into the pedals when I need to actually move to keep my balance. I'm also using my brakes a little bit, rocking back and forth. Really easy to practice and really useful on the trail.
There's been some amazing moments of front wheel control in magazine features and videos over the years. Nose wheelies, stoppies, even backwards manuals, grabbing our attention and drawing us into mountain biking. But what does front end control mean to you? Well, you need to be out on the trail, lifting your front wheel over roots, over logs, over holes in the corners. This stuff's really important. What about maneuvering the back end? Well, a lot of the time, that comes down to controlling the front end. A stoppie on the trail comes down to controlling really high pressure braking on your front wheel. So you need to master it. So let's take a look at two videos that look at the aspects that I've just pointed out and see how you can learn them.
So front wheel control, as you'd expect, comes from the handlebars and really using your weight, but also brakes to lift and for putting weight on that front tyre. So the first thing to learn is the manual, and that's all about using your weight to get off the back of the bike and lift that front wheel. Then it comes to lifting the back wheel. So actually, this is about getting your weight onto that front wheel, and that's great for learning endos, which can be used in really tight switchbacks to lift your rear tyre up and get it around that corner. So using that manual technique of pumping and getting my weight back, I can actually bring that into use on my track stand, also for those really technical trialsy sections. So I'm just pumping into the fork, getting my hips back, and I can move the front wheel around.
Rear wheel control is an absolute must for trials riding. Back hops, I mean, has there ever been a more impressive trick? Danny MacAskill, we've always seen him hopping and pogoing his way across some obstacle, making it all look so easy. Now, we don't need to do that, thank goodness, but what about the wheelie? We all want to learn a wheelie, and once you've mastered it, it looks amazing and you want to show everybody. Now Fabio and Hans, they need to nail this rear wheel control to the absolute finest minute technique. But what does it mean to us out on the trail? Well, the wheelie, for instance, that's going to teach you an awful lot about body positioning. If you're on a steep ascent, you're going to be much more confident because you know where the balance point is. You're going to use it a lot on the trail too. Powering out of that turn, I mean, that's a wheelie on a sugar rush. Let's let Danny MacAskill's back hops and manuals inspire us to focus on what rear wheel control means to you.
So now when it comes to rear wheel control, you've got the back hop, which is the classic that the trials riders love, but you've also got the skid and the wheelies. So let's start with skids. Now skidding is probably the first thing you learn when getting on a bike, just grabbing a handful of back brake. But if you really practice this and get used to the bike sliding around, it can move on and you get really comfortable with drifting your bike when you reach the level of grip and you're not actually using your brake to slide, the bike is just moving around by itself. Now for wheelies, find yourself a slight incline to ride up, get your seat off, that makes it a little bit easier, and get it in a nice easy gear. Now it's two things really, it's all about trying to time your power, but also a bit of a pop. So crouch down to your bars, bending your arms, and as you put the power down, get back. And those two things together will lift the front wheel. Keep your finger on the back brakes, that's going to stop you if it goes too high. So as your foot just goes over 12 o'clock, pop back and put the power down.
If there's anything on display when you watch trials riding, it isn't the incredible skills, it's amazing confidence. I know from my riding career that if I wasn't confident about something, then I was probably going to become unstuck. But where does confidence come from? Well, it simply comes from successful riding. The belief that you can do something over and over again with absolute precision. It comes from practice and it comes from patience. You need to improve your riding in an achievable but crucially an enjoyable way. If you don't push enough, you're going to become stale and bored. Push too much, you could get hurt and crash. Not good. You need to improve your riding in manageable steps. Awareness. I mean, how do any of these impossible trials tricks ever even happen? Danny and Hans have got the skills and they've got the confidence, but they've also got this incredible imagination for riding. They've got this awareness of about how they're riding and how their bike fits into the surroundings, and they make these incredible videos to show us. So how do we achieve that? Well, your awareness comes from practicing things like balance and front wheel control and rear wheel control and gaining in confidence. Yep, you've been doing it all along, but knowing that you need to understand your wheelbase and how you fit on the bike and how you and your bike fit on the trail is really important. Picturing yourself riding that Black Diamond trail, that's what's going to make it happen. So keep pushing, keep using these elements of trials to improve your mountain biking, and you're on the path to becoming a better rider. Okay, thanks for watching. I really hope this was useful. If you want to learn how to stop crashing, then maybe click over there. And this side, that's going to teach you to go around corners really, really fast. Why don't you click on the globe to subscribe to GMBN? Hey, and there's one thing left you could really do to help us out. Give us a thumbs up, like. Do two if you want. Actually, I don't think you can do two.